So both have very happy memories of previous success here and are looking to add many more over the course of a possible 21 frames. We're ready to go. Kyren Wilson to get us underway. And it's a warm welcome to the commentary box once again to Alan McManus.
Good morning, Phil. Always look forward to this showpiece occasion, the final. The first huge final of the season. And I was checking the odds before the match. Kyren Wilson starts a 3-1 on favourite. But for 2 or 3 different reasons, you might think Ali Carter's name is on this one. You see, late call up, the deciders, the comebacks. Nice day off yesterday to prepare for the final today. Let's see.
Didn't cue that one as well as he would have liked, but he certainly will be delighted with the way he's cued throughout the week. Hit the wrong side of the red there. 3 times in a row Carter has come from behind to win. 3 down with 4 to play against Mark Williams and Zhao Guodong, and then 8-6 down to Mark Selby, and each time he's found a way to get over the winning line. And for Kyren Wilson, an outstanding performance to edge Sergei away. Then he defeated Ronnie O'Sullivan, winning the last 3 frames. And then yesterday, a strangely one-sided deciding session against the reigning world champion Zhao Jintong. Having trailed 5-4 when they came back, he won all 6 frames. Zhao strangely out of sorts, and Wilson making the most of the chances that came his way to win emphatically. Now, we've got a slight delay. I'm not quite sure why. Players being held up for the moment, but it looks like we're ready to go again.
What?
Yes, I think most of us felt we were going to be in for another grandstand finish in the deciding session of the second semi-final yesterday, Alan, but it didn't quite pan out that way.
Certainly didn't. Just goes astray there. Kyren failing to get in and out of ball. Yes, his challenge petered out, didn't it?
6.
Jintong. Kyren winning all 6 frames last evening. Bit of pressure on this. He knows he should have been much closer to the red.
Kyren was a 6.
And a long way off with that red, so both players perhaps feeling a few final nerves, which is inevitable.
One.
Carter starts the underdog, as Alan has indicated, but then he's been underdog in certainly 2 of the 4 matches he's played so far, and was big underdog against Zhao Guodong as well when he trailed 5-2. Held himself together better in the decider. Played brilliantly to blitz Mark Williams with 4 big breaks from 5-2 down in the previous round, and then against Mark Selby, who missed a key blue when he was poised for a 9-6 lead. He won those 4 straight frames once again. Selby didn't pot a ball after missing that blue.
9.
So many good things have been happening for Carter. Whole tournament pretty much. That was another one. Looked a bit awkward at first glance, but on a second look, this looks perfect again. Just a word on table conditions. I do believe they've changed somewhat since we got down to the semi-finals. The pockets are a bit sharper, especially on the far jaw. Black's off the spot. Not so much with that type of shot with no pace, but I think it's worth noting. I don't think there's going to be a raft of centuries. We'll get a few, hopefully. I'm sure we will, but slightly different from the first part of the tournament.
When they were flying in, we've had 52 in all in this tournament, which is 15 more than we've ever had in the Shanghai Masters before. Of course, we also had the 147 break from Zhang Anda, his fourth, the 219th in professional competition. So unless one of these players emulate that achievement in the final, Zhang will walk away with a bonus of £10,000.
Good. $31.
Yeah, as is often the case, the minute you lose the cue ball up table, the way these reds are, this is tricky to get nicely on one. That was nicely played. I think he almost accepted he wasn't going to get right in behind one of the reds.
34.
And just again on conditions, I think early on in the tournament it was more important to get in the first place. I don't think that's as important, because whoever got in first basically won the frame. Pre-semi-final. I think now it's more a case of when you get in, you've got to just obviously try and take your chances as best you can, because I don't think there's going to be, as I say, it's not going to be 90 and 100 every frame. That's a lovely recovery shot.
35.
Carter has changed things up a little this season. Previously, he was working with Chris Henry, but he doesn't have a coach at present, and he's been practicing with different players. Looking to keep things fresh. Turned 46 years of age last week. Last season he won his 6th ranking title, which was the Championship League, then rather lost his way for a while, recovered late season and looked likely to be a seed for the World Championship. In the end it was denied because of Stuart Bingham's run to the World Grand Prix final. And that meant that he wasn't able to get into the Players or the Tour Championships, which of course carry big points. So he had to qualify for the Crucible, which he did. And then lost to his nemesis, Ronnie O'Sullivan. But generally speaking, over the last 2 or 3 seasons, it's been a very productive period for Carter. Got himself back in the top 16, and that'll be the goal over the next few weeks for him. Of course, this is invitational, no ranking points, but big money.
46. 47.
Wilson took on that long red, having not got prime position, and missed it by a long way. And it's looking likely to cost him this frame. The lead is 48.
54. 55. 60.
Red and the black would suffice. Wilson would need a snooker.
$61. $68. Kyren.
Well, the red stays out,
68.
and it is just the one snooker, so the frame not over yet. Carter will be annoyed he didn't make sure there by potting the red, which would certainly have been the frame for him.
One.
But with Kyren Wilson missing the black, you've got to think that's very likely to be end of frame. 3 snookers now required.
One.
So although Ali Carter missed his initial attempt at a long red, a very difficult one by a wide margin, Kyren Wilson did likewise with his attempt into the opposite corner, and Carter has stepped in with that break of 68 to take the first of the final.
9. $16. 17. 21. 23. 26. 30. 35. 40. Ali Carter.
Breaks of 68 and 35 from Ali Carter. And he's off and running in the Shanghai Masters final. 11 is the target to be crowned champion. Both of these players having lifted the trophy before. Carter leads 1-0. Ali Carter with the opening frame of the Shanghai Masters final.
Carter to break.
The break of 68 did the damage. Carter has said that he was contemplating his flight home on numerous occasions this week, having been in trouble in 3 matches in a row, but each time finding a way to win and producing his best when the pressure was at its greatest, which augurs very well for him. But he won't be thrilled with the break off. He's brought the red up the table and he's left it for Wilson.
One.
Even although Kyren won all 6 frames last night against Sin Tong, there were a number of mistakes in there. I'd be massively concerned about them, but in a fashion I would be. Here's a test. What you do know with Kyren, he's made of the right stuff, isn't he? I mean, finals in no way is he
6.
sort of phased at all. And the onus is going to be in Carter in this final to handle the occasion, because we know that Kyren won't have a problem on that score.
Only the 3rd world champion, first time world champion that is, after Hendry and Trump, to win 3 or more ranking titles in the season that followed. In his case, 4, 3 of those at the expense of Trump in the title match. So that speaks for itself when you think of how brilliant Trump has been in the last few seasons, head and shoulders above everyone else in terms of sheer consistency. Against Sergei Wei, which was one of the matches of the week for sheer quality, he was never in front until the final frame. Would have made his 4th century of that match had he taken care with the final black. Tried to pot it without looking. Against Ronnie O'Sullivan, he pulled away from 3 each very impressively, and then of course did likewise, as Alan was explaining, against a strangely subpar Zhao Jintong in session 2. The first session was outstanding from both, really. Wilson winning 6 in a row from 5-4 down to get to the final.
$22. 23. $28. $29.
Wilson has been reflecting on what this tournament means to him, because it changed his life and his career when he won this a decade ago. A tournament he nearly missed to celebrate his dad's 50th birthday in Spain.
35.
And he's not looked back. He's got stronger and stronger. We know his work ethic is as good as anyone in the game. Made the world final 5 years ago, losing to O'Sullivan, but of course put that right 2 seasons ago. And it feels as though his game is now at a whole different
41.
level in terms of confidence, belief, the way in which he attacks the balls, the pace at which he plays. It's all ultra positive.
.42.
Carter wondering if that break-off that left the red might be his only shot of the frame.
.49. .50.
Just been watching this break. I do think the bedcloth is not as reactive as it's been for the majority of the tournament, so it's been quite workmanlike, this break. He's almost there. It's nothing Kyren can't handle.
57.
But you definitely, when you get these chances, you've got to concentrate that bit more with. See, it's not quite as reactive.
58. .64. .65.
So the black misframed ball, and Ali Carter will be so annoyed with himself at the break-off. It's almost all the good work of the first frame is now gone.
72.
It's happened quite a lot actually in this tournament, the red springing back up towards baulk.
73.
Every chance now of a 7th century of the week for Wilson.
78. 79. .85. 86.
And to think a few seasons ago, the quality of his cue ball was under scrutiny. Not anymore. 62 centuries last season. 521 for his career. And this has been a terrific riposte to losing the first frame. Getting that
93.
wide error on the long red out of his system quickly.
94.
And this for his 7th of the season.
.101. 102. 111. 114. 118.
This for his highest break of the week. Eclipsing the 120 that he made. And what a break this has been. It's been immaculate from Kyren Wilson. And playing at O'Sullivan-esque pace. There's the no-look black again. The century already made. 129 from the former world champion after Ali Carter left a red off the break-off. Battle joined here in Shanghai. It's one frame all. To take the second.
Kyren Wilson to break.
So 8 more frames to come in this session. Of course, we'll have the usual interval after 4. $11 the target for the title, and that first prize of £210,000. Kyren Wilson was, of course, the latest victim of the Crucible curse. We're still waiting for a first-time winner of the World Championship to successfully defend. Perhaps even more remarkable, Alan, is that we've now had 21 occurrences in a row where the player who's beaten Ding Junhui has then lost in the next round. Zhao Jintong, the latest victim of that curse.
Yeah, it's nice to beat Ding, isn't it? But not for long.
It's nearly 14 months now since Robbie Williams managed to win his match after a victory over Ding. That was at the Welsh Open.
Foul. Miss. Cut 7.
Personally, I think World Snooker should put up a prize, shouldn't they, really? Let's be honest. For whoever beats Ding and wins the next match, to get a trophy or something.
It is a remarkable run. Wilson makes the necessary adjustment.
Imagine how Ding feels. I'm sure he knows about it. He'll be thinking, these guys that keep beating me, what's the point? I keep getting beaten in the next round. As Phil said, we have 10 frames in this session. It'll be interesting to see if we get the full quota in. I'd be curious to know what the cut-off point would be. So the evening session starts at 12:30 UK time. In an ideal world, you do. It's always the case out in Shanghai. It's a long final, long day. You want the players to get, you know, a good hour and a half at least. Give them a chance to get back to the hotel, get a fresh shirt and a shower and whatever. Maybe a sandwich or something. We'll see if and when that happens, but now then, Kyren is going to be spreading a few reds around, so must get a good cue ball. Let's see how well he times this one. This is awkward with the brown there.
One.
That was a very kindly little kiss, wasn't it? Just shaving the red. It was a very good pot. But look at that little kiss off the base of the bunch, which has taken him perfectly onto the blue.
Six.
A very different experience in Shanghai for Kyren Wilson this year than 12 months ago, when of course he was whitewashed by Zhou Yulong in his first match. Although that was very much the exception to the rule of what was an outstanding season as world champion. Bagged nearly £1 million in prize money.
End the break. That's kind of just a very small example of what I mean. I just don't, you know, going into reds, I don't think they're splitting
13.
generally anyway, as well as they have been most of the week. It's a small point, but it will come into play in the final, to the extent where I do think the players need to be a little mindful.
Kyren was 13.
Not so much going into the pack at the first opportunity, as tends to be the modern way.
This was Kyren Wilson's maiden ranking title success, of course, the Shanghai Masters. It was Carter's second when he won it in 2010. He also won the World Open 6 years later in China, and then returned to the winner's enclosure in a ranking tournament by winning the German Masters at the expense of Tom Ford 2 years ago, and that was the catalyst for a very consistent set of results that he put together. A lot of prize money, a lot of points that got him back into the top 16. Former world number 2, Carter. But the attempted plant has not gone to plan, and he has left one.
Result he's had though, because Kyren, well, I think he's going out on a limb, but he'll do well to score more than one. He simply isn't going to be able to get the cue ball out of there. He's going to have to drop it in and play a safety shot in bulk, I reckon. He's done very well indeed. It looked a bit straight to us, I'm guessing, didn't it? But this pocket actually along the cushion last night was very tight. Yeah, well done.
Eight.
Better than well done, actually. That was a fantastic shot, actually, with the spider. Across for the black, so carrying on his merry way here. The pink and black are not too bad. The pink's accessible.
9. $14. $15.
Trouble with the pink from the right half of the table, that red in the open, the one he's played on, is almost in the exact position where you'd want the cue ball to attack the pink. So if he's straight in this, he can play for it.
$21. $27. $28.
Carter attempted the long red, the plant, but in the event careered into a different red, and as Alan explained, the shot with the spider was superbly executed by Wilson, because his chances of continuing the break look slim. In the event,
35.
He's giving himself a chance to clinch the frame.
36.
And after that misstep in the opening frame by missing the long red by a margin, he's looked extremely good again.
$43. $44.
That one used the full width of the pocket, but edging ever closer to 2-1.
$51.
57 the lead, 67 remaining, so this pink and one more red.
$57.
I think it's a difference in Kyren these days. He can take the match away from his opponents so quickly. I do think when he won the championship at Sheffield, one of the most important victories of his career was the John Higgins quarter-final. Pulling away from, I think, 9-8 in front, won the last 4 frames, because he lost 13-2 to John the year before at Sheffield. I thought that was a landmark, not just win, but performance.
Without a doubt, it was cathartic for Wilson to avenge that hurtful loss, the landslide defeat from 12 months previously, and set him up to go on to lift the big one, and he's not looked back.
73.
Still entertaining thoughts of back-to-back centuries here. Bit of work to be done positionally though. And what an effort this is. Brilliant.
80. $81.
And as you say, Alan, it's the speed at which he does his damage these days. He flies around the table, so much aggressive intent. Just exudes confidence. And it can be intimidating when you're racing around the table like this,
88.
O'Sullivan style.
89.
Yeah, let's be honest, the other day O'Sullivan had no answer to Kyren.
$96.
They'll be disappointed to miss the yellow and therefore the chance of back-to-back centuries, but it was another superbly crafted break of 96 to punish Ali Carter's error on the red as Kyren Wilson leads by 2 frames to 1. Wilson responding with 129 and 96 to lead 2-1. 11 is the target to be crowned champion. Just their 5th meeting, not the best break-off again from Carter catching the blue. Looks a bit perplexed by that one. Is it going to be costly though? Not an easy opening red. And he might now actually profit from that misstep on the break.
Yeah, the break-off was a symptom of a couple of frames ago, wasn't it? It was a reaction to that. Got it too thick, so erred on the thin side. Now, what does he do here? Does he feel that he's able to hold this cue ball for black to same pocket? Not easy to hold this. Needs to slow up. Yeah, Ali Might's a half gesture there that he feels he had a big bounce, but I don't think so. There was just a wee bit too much pace on it. Still on it, but yeah, he's got to just batten down the hatches here, try and steel himself. This is such a tough shot. That was a tough one.
Ali Carter, 1.
Playing the double, Kyren, double to nothing. Ali might do likewise, we'll see, but yeah, players, I think, with the black over the pocket, they know that if a safety battle ensues, there's going to be a re-rack in all likelihood. So, speculative double.
Just two previous multiple champions of this tournament. Ronnie O'Sullivan, who won it 5 times, including 4 in a row. And Ding Junhui, who's won it on 2 occasions. One of these two players will become the third. Invitational since 2018.
Like to attempt to pot on this red. He's just unsure about his cue ball. Fantastic shot, that's brilliant. Alright, he might be potting the black at the same time. He's okay, fantastic shot.
That would have been harsh had he knocked the black in with what was a great bit of cueing on the red. Could have worked out better, looking to go right into the heart of the bunch, but he has still got a red, a thin clip into this left corner.
Nine.
It's not the first time that
11.
Carter has made the most of an opportunity he wasn't expecting to get. The Masters 2020. O'Sullivan pulled out.
12.
Carter went to the final, led the final against Stuart Bingham before missing out in a tight finish. Hoping to go one better today after Mark Allen chose to withdraw, which allowed him the opportunity to get in.
$16. $17. $24. $25.
Made that pot look easier than it was. Got to be so accurate when you're potting into the centres from an angle like that. And this is shaping up to be a good opportunity for Carter to share this mini session ahead of the first interval. And what a great red it was to get in. But, wow,
33.
it caught a fair bit of the jaw, but no damage done.
$40. $41.
It's Ali's natural way to play that kind of bouncing,
48.
sort of bubbly way that he's got round the table, but it is important that he shows Kyren that he believes he's going to win. Because Kyren, for good reason, starts favourite in this final.
49.
But Ali can't afford to show any weakness at all. And he isn't doing. It's been very good, this. You know, body language is so important, I think, these days. We saw it last night. St. Tom kind of almost sinking into his chair, and his game went from bad to worse. And he didn't show a lot of fight, must be honest.
56.
Just at the crucial point. Ali needing red colour red. So the last thing he wants to be doing on this one is playing some sort of cannon and lose the cue ball. Just trying to figure out a way of playing Cannon free, back up for baulk colour. That was the smart way of playing it. Good thinking.
57.
Carter's temperament has been extremely robust throughout the week. Time and time again, the question has been asked from very precarious situations, and he's delivered.
59.
3 down with 4 to play against Williams and Zhao Guidong. 8-6 down against Selby, nearly 9-6 down. He's played his best when the pressure's been at its greatest. And that excellent opening red appears to have won in this 4th frame. Both of these players continuing to produce the calibre of snooker they've done to get to this final,
67.
in the final.
68.
Carter himself has made 5 centuries this week.
75.
And a string of other frame-winning contributions.
76.
Up to 444 for his career now.
'83. 84. 86. Ali Carter.
A break of
86
86 from Ali Carter, launched by that superb long-range red, has levelled up what is already a high-caliber Shanghai Masters final. 2 former champions in this tournament going head-to-head over the best of 21 frames, and nothing to choose after the first 4 as we head to the first interval. We're level, 2 frames all. In this first session, and a possible 11 when they come back this evening at 7 o'clock UK
25.
time, 8 o'clock
Everyone
CET.
to break.
Beg your pardon, 12:30 UK time, 1:30 CET. For the finale, Kyren Wilson breaking off for frame 5. Both players once again clinical in taking their chances. That's been the theme from both of them for the lion's share of this tournament. Wilson got a bit of help, it must be said, from Zhao Jintong in yesterday's decisive session. But both have been scoring very heavily throughout the week and looking very confident in amongst the reds. Only their 5th meeting. Wilson has won 3 of the previous 4. Carter's solitary win coming a decade ago in qualifying for the Australian Open. Their most recent encounter came at the Tour Championship. That was the best of 19 frames. Wilson winning 10-4. started this match with an errant long red, and this one was a long way off, very unlike Kyren Wilson, who's normally excellent from long range. "13 years between these two finalists. Kyren Wilson still only 33. Ali Carter having just celebrated his 46th birthday.
Just left the gap for the right side of the pack of red. Sally will be thankful for that. Just has to avoid the blue on the return.
Lee having a good look.
This time a problem. No return to balk. find his way onto the black. Yeah, nicely played. I mean, just the very fact that Kyren left the red down the cushion with the rest tells you that the pockets are that bit sharper. And we've seen most of the week. So black, I think, will be going up table.
We've now had 53 centuries this week, including the 129 that Wilson made to level this match. That one frame all. Added 96 for 2-1 before Carter responded with 86.
8.
The black well and truly surrounded.
Nine. $14.
Among those players that Carter has been practicing with of late is his fellow Essex QS Zach Shurty, who seems to be getting better and better all the time as a match player. Made the World Open semi-finals last season. They've been practicing together in Harlow. Carter hails from Chelmsford in Essex, Shurty from Basildon.
Punch. $21.
Challenging break this, given the awkward nature of the table with both black and pink at the moment out of commission. The red's not ideal. But Carter won the safety battle to allow him this chance to build some sort of lead.
Yep.
He obviously got a bad contact, but I must confess I was surprised that he didn't just leave the cue ball, you know, maybe about a foot away from the yellow. We've had plenty of angle to work with in the red. See, anyway, really, you can get on a colour. Potting this one, I mean, it's possible, but highly unlikely.
$24.
It was always going to be a tough ask for Carter to put something substantial together there with the awkwardness of the table. So any sort of lead in those circumstances is one worth having.
1. Wrong ball. Alicante 1.
Wilson's body language suggested there he thought the cue ball wandered off a little. Which can always happen when you're playing very slowly from that sort of distance. It's another good safety from Carter, who's been immaculate throughout this tournament in that regard.
Kyren started the final quite a warm favourite, but on the evidence of what we've seen so far, to me at least, it doesn't appear that either player is the stronger. Ali competing in every department, and at least given as good as he's getting. I think he's also picking his shots in terms of shot selection quite wisely. And there again, all right, he's left a possible red for Kyren. It's fraught with risk. Making good use there of yellow blue to cover the red in the open. See, for me his shot selection's been excellent. Giving Kyren plenty to think about.
No wonder Wilson's holding his hand up. He's dodged a bullet there, missing the red on the way down, catching one on the way up and leaving the cue ball in the jaws of the pocket. After Carter had once again won the safety battle. It's a strange game, isn't it? The number of times the player ends up profiting from a mistake, a bit of luck. Carter played an excellent safety. Wilson was in trouble, got away with it, and now has an opportunity to get back in the frame. But he's missed that opportunity. Maybe that period of safety in this frame, by far and away the most we've seen in this final so far, has just thrown Wilson's rhythm off a little.
One.
Yeah, lovely shot. He just played into an area, hoping to either be on or get the right cannon, but it was the way that he played it was clever. Yeah, I think at the moment on balance, Kyren's playing all right when he gets in close, but at distance, there's been quite a few mistakes. I think just at the moment, I was going to say one player was the more solid of the two, it would be Carter. Not much in it, but
7.
it's just been a wee bit more solid.
Being the underdog certainly hasn't troubled him this week. That was the case against Williams, certainly against Selby.
Thirteen. $14.
Yeah, that will annoy him. Yeah, he's just trying to keep his disappointment inside because he doesn't want to show any emotional weakness to Kyren at this stage. It's in or over with the black. Oh, it's a really good shot. That's excellent to keep the break going.
$21. $22. $24. $25.
So just another colour and a red, and Carter will be back in front. And you have to say he's dominated this frame. He's out-safetied Wilson, who got a bit lucky but couldn't take advantage.
$31. $32.
Not the prettiest frame. The balls went awkward early, but Carter has been in complete control of it. Some excellent safety again, which has been a theme of the week from him, allied to heavy scoring. He looks very confident. And why wouldn't you be, given the path that he's taken to this final? Battle-hardened, to put it mildly, but showing tremendous mettle when required in his previous victories. And fancying the job by the looks of things against the former world champion.
$47. 48. 55. 56. 63. 65.
'A break of 65 from Ali Carter, an excellent all-round frame from him, dominating proceedings in the fifth and moving back in front, having taken the first of the final. Carter now leads by 3 frames to 2. There is, of course, the chance of parity at the end of session 1, with 10 frames to be played. Equally, one of these players could build a very useful advantage to take into the evening session, which is due to get underway at 12:30 UK time. 11 required to be crowned champion, and for the second time in the final, Ali Carter hits the blue off the break. In the second frame, he left a red off the break, and Wilson made a break of 129. Wilson not legislating for leaving the red close to the centre pocket, which may be cuttable. It's very thin and therefore difficult to control the cue ball, but it looks like it will go.
One.
Disappointed not to be on the brownie. He kind of has a... I'm not going to play the aggressive shots, just to tuck in for good reason.
Ali Carter 1.
I was going to say there, the blue that sort of forever be known as the John Higgins blue. It wasn't exactly like that, but you all know what I'm driving at. So the 2 cushion glance. Now he's left another.
He's lost his way a little, Wilson. 1 or 2 errors creeping in. The long game has been a bit in and out today. He had the chance in the previous frame when he got lucky with his previous shot with the safety that could have gone horribly wrong, and now a mistake to allow Carter this chance.
One. 8.
Just giving himself an extra few seconds on this because, yeah, right along the end cushion is quite missable. So as long as he can avoid dropping behind the blue, here he's got the brown waiting.
9.
Will do nicely. Sometimes we talk about experience and shot selection. This is would be a prime example. Needs to slow up. It's just gone awkward.
13.
Doesn't seem overly convinced that I can get through to that. It's one of those junctures of the final where Ali's got himself in a good position. You know, he's kind of bossing it at the moment. So the last thing he needs is making a bad mistake, because as I say, in close, Kyren, to me anyway, it looks no problem in terms of scoring.
It was then,
Ali Carter. 13.
and in the event, Carter undercut it. So Wilson wins a reprieve. Looking to re-establish himself after a slightly indifferent period. But in a final of this length, there are bound to be peaks and troughs. Periods where you're not quite on your game. Need to ride out those difficulties. But again, the kind of red that Wilson would normally negotiate without too much fuss is proving a bit of a challenge at the moment. Didn't really get close.
At distance, when you happen to spin the cue ball, it's quite tricky. Not as reactive as the players would like it. And that's, I think, the main reason why a lot of these shots at distance are not finding the target. It's not making excuses for the players. It's just an observation of the way the bedcloth is playing at present. It's challenging. There's no question that of the two, again, I'm repeating myself, but Kyren is certainly struggling.
One. 8. 9.
'Carter may sense an opportunity here to make some inroads. He'll be aware that Wilson isn't quite firing as he normally would right now
16.
in this first session, although he doesn't look thrilled with the result that he's had there. Looking at manufacturing a plant. There's quite a distance between these two reds, so needs to take care. Well played.
17.
Needs another good pot on the black. Cue ball just drifting on a little. How close was that to dropping? I fancy it would have done
Carter.
earlier in the tournament,
17.
as Alan has been alluding to.
Yeah, he hit it quite well, didn't he, Lou? I mean, that's almost, you would call that the inside of the jaw almost. But
1.
that could be, we'll see in the next 5 or 10 minutes, but that could be quite a turning point. It just shows you, you know, I kind of said at the top of this final, there'll be plenty of frames, a wee bit scrappy, a few misses here and there. The standard's been excellent so far, but it's starting to get a bit tense.
Eight.
These are the first points that Wilson has scored since he made the break of 96 to lead 2-1 before the interval, so that's a measure of how he'd been shut out. 1 or 2 errors creeping in, but this looks like a very presentable chance to put that right.
$16. 17. 23. 24. 31. 32.
Plenty of work still for Wilson to do here to turn this break into a frame-winning one, with a couple of awkward reds to negotiate. Carter reflecting on the black that very nearly dropped.
36. 37.
So this is the first real test in this break.
43.
The pocket's not overly forgiving at this stage of the tournament.
Yeah, terrific pot, and he looks to have the perfect angle to cannon the red. Just about on it, but far from easy.
51. Kyren was 51.
So the break ends at 51, but it looks as though Wilson has avoided leaving that red, having overcut it by a margin. Or is there enough sticking out for Carter? Maybe there is. Well, he's undercut it. So this frame proving to be a tight one, and still in the balance. Wilson 20 in front, 43 remaining.
That was a horrible shot that Kyren's just played. I mean, he's at least 3 feet short of pace with the cue ball. Has he just left the door ajar in this frame? I mean, it's going to take a great pot for Ali to set up this possible chance. As you see there, not playing it, I think just trying to get in behind the yellow. Slight decel. Yeah, it's getting very edgy now, isn't it?
The first real sign of tension in this final. Still early in the piece, but both players acutely aware of the significance of this frame. Carter looking to forge a 4-2 lead, go 2 clear for the first time, put the pressure on Wilson. He's missed once or twice today from long range, but that one was extremely well cued. But he is going to need the last red.
Four.
So this is the key shot for Kyren Wilson. This red, and it should be his frame for 3-all. Oh, he's just playing the snooker. Not just a case of hitting the red for Carter, but not leaving it.
Yeah, it was a funny shot that Kyren played, wasn't it, off the green? It was either, you know, you expect him to at least make an attempt to get on the red. It appeared he didn't, either that or the cloth's playing less reactive than perhaps we first thought. Either way, yeah, it's getting very tense out there. No, that'll work. Not exactly as played, but good cue ball.
That was another edgy one. One good pot from Carter, and he could be right back in business in this frame, and what a big one it would be to win. Again close, but he's left it. So surely now 24 in front, Kyren Wilson with a golden chance to level this final.
One.
Not entirely convincing.
Yellow ball.
And still not over. He needs the further yellow.
Three. Kyren Wilson three. Fountain.
An eventful frame, a very edgy frame, the first of that ilk in this final, and Kyren Wilson will be delighted to have got it on the board. It took a bit of winning, but the former world champion has won it, and in the process has restored parity here in Shanghai. It's 3-all. The former world champ would have felt some pressure. As it is, 3 apiece, and this first session still up for grabs. I think there may be a bit of movement, which is proving a distraction, so Carter just waiting. Snooker behind the green. Shanghai Li, our referee, declares touching ball, so Wilson can obviously play away from these reds, deemed to have already hit one. Looks a wee bit frustrated at the minute, doesn't he, Ali? So he mustn't do. He's kind of going through a few emotions here, as if he's been hard done by. And I get it. I can understand it. This is why temperament's so important. Try as best you can to remain positive, which he's been all week long.
One.
Aye, not the blue, but I mean, he's not looking. The red on the right, if he just potted the green, left the cue ball where it is now, the other red's on. Just didn't look at it. I certainly think it would have been on. Just think at the moment on the back of that previous frame that Ali will feel he should have won. He's feeling a wee bit sorry for himself.
All the more so, perhaps, because it did feel as though Wilson was having a bit of a wobble in the session. Hadn't troubled the scorers for 2 straight frames, 1 or 2 errors creeping in. So for him to win that 6th frame would have given him a big boost, and frustration in equal measure for Carter that he's not too clear, with a chance to really push on in this first session. But there's still a very long way to go to the winning line, of course. They both need 8 frames from here.
Okay, he's got a plant to go at. It's quite a nice shot, this, in terms of the cue ball. Quite on, but there's always going to be a natural path back to bulk. Yes, it seems to forget. It's a long old match, isn't it? Best of 21. Still very early in the final. Doesn't feel it, but it is. It feels like. Ah, that's good. That's better. His long game hasn't been up to its usual standard so far in the final. That was much better. Yeah, there's a long way to go in this session.
Kyren Wilson 1.
You could see the concern in Carter's body language when he realised the path the cue ball was taking through to this red. Chance for Wilson. But that's gone wrong. It's all become a bit scrappy. The first 4 frames featured big frame winning breaks. The last couple have been of a different sort of caliber.
Kyren Wilson 1.
Wilson going for his 13th professional snooker title today. Carter his 11th. 10 of the 12 that Wilson has won have been ranking. For Carter it's 6. Most recently the Championship League at the start of last season. Wilson, of course, winning 4 ranking titles during the last campaign. A quite brilliant one.
just thinking about the frames in the final. The evening session gets underway in almost exactly 3 hours from now. You know, I'm a bit of a players man. I would like to give the players a couple of hours if possible between sessions. And, you know, this final started at 2 p.m. in China. That begs the question for me, why not start it at 1 p.m? Seems to make sense to me, but you know, just give the players that, and the people watching, give them a, you know, a little bit more time between afternoon and evening session. Anyway, Kyren taking a risk. This is such a tough shot. Oh my goodness, what a fluke. That is outrageous, isn't it? Look at this red. It cuts the red into the ball pocket. Wow.
Not the best shot, but he's still got this red.
6.
How significant will that fluke prove to be? When you get luck like that, it's all about making the most of it. Nice use of drag to hold the cue ball for the black.
$14. 15. 22. 23.
Yes, in close, he's absolutely fine, isn't he, Kyren? Just the distances has been his nemesis for most of the afternoon. But his attitude is superb.
28.
It's almost like he's been with lots of patience, understanding that
29.
yeah, right, I might be struggling in certain areas, but when my chances come along, and this one aided by an unbelievable fluke, I'm going to take advantage when I get in close. It looks very good all of a sudden.
36. 37. 44. 45. 50. 50.
Every one of these
51.
points is going to be hurting Carter. It was the most spectacular fluke from Wilson. Would have been a very presentable chance for Carter to do as Wilson is doing here, and perhaps kick on to a 4-3 lead instead. With this red,
58.
it's going to be 4-3 the other way. Over a match of this length, you would expect
59.
the luck to even out. Doesn't always happen that way, but one thing is for sure, when it comes your way, make the very most of it, and Wilson has done just that. Could easily have been 4-2 adrift, and now
66.
leads 4-3.
67.
Seems to have retrieved the fluency that went AWOL for a couple of frames. All thanks to that fluke, and it was a fluke and a half, Alan.
74.
It certainly wasn't one of mine. No, everyone would say the same.
75.
I didn't get flukes like that, but it was a corker, wasn't it?
But the rest has been skill. Very nice break this from Wilson.
80. Persia 80. In the frame.
He holds his hand up once again for the fluke, which proved very significant as Wilson was able to make a break of 80 from it and retake the lead here at 4 frames to 3. One of the key attributes necessary in this sport of snooker is to absorb disappointment and ill luck. Carter certainly had that in the previous frame with the extraordinary fluke from Kyren Wilson, which directly led to a frame-winning break of 80 and a 4-3 advantage. But still just the odd frame with 3 more to come. 11 the target for the title. Carter's lost his chalk. It's been a mixed bag for sure from Wilson today from long range. But no damage done, having missed that difficult long red. Well, surely he's not left this red, has he?
He did that earlier, didn't he, when he was 27 behind on the yellow? He just kind of looked and just threw his cue at one. He might not have left Kyren this, but if he has, he'd no business leaving it, because it was straightforward to just rest in the edge of the pack.
1.
You saw the anxious look back from Carter when it suddenly dawned on him that he could have left it, and in the event there was plenty of space for the red, so that is a significant error. Or at least it will be, if Wilson can build on the 80 break from the previous frame.
8. Nine.
That was a terrific effort. Now, can he get the red
14.
just below the pink? Oh, he can. He's perfect. Again, it's almost like the tide has turned this match. 20 minutes, half an hour ago, Ali Carter was in the box seat. Now it's Kyren with the wind in his sails.
$21. 22.
Win this frame, and Wilson knows that the worst he can be is level at the end of this first session. But with the chance to actually forge a very significant lead, if he can make the most of this opportunity that was rather gifted to him. Carter playing what he thought was a nailed-on safety. In the event, he left a red at the bottom of the pack.
30. $37. $38. $45.
Bargain on the cannon, so that's gone a wee bit astray. Might have a red to left middle as an alternative. So that's a bonus. But something we don't talk that
46.
much about actually is the attitude of Kyren Wilson. It's as good as anyone else on the tour. It's just get the head down and get on with business. And it's been quite heavy going for him in some ways in this final. But you just feel like round the corner,
53.
his best form might just appear. And yes, it was on the back of a fluke in the previous frame.
54.
But that's all part and parcel of top level sport. Got to roll with the punches.
It was actually the sixth frame that felt particularly significant in this session, because Carter was getting on top, threatening to lead 4-2. Wilson rather fell over the line in that frame. It was a real bonus to be level again. And now he's
61.
threatening to really kick on from there.
$62.
Just this blue and a further red. And Carter needs to regroup. A casual safety cost him this break.
$67.
For his third straight frame, barring snookers.
$68.
Yeah, there was nothing remotely difficult about the safety shot that went wrong. It was just a straightforward case of he was severely cheesed off.
73.
And he played it like, you know, he'd gone all of a sudden in a, you know, in a bad mood with whatever, himself, the match, cat, or whatever. Doesn't matter, but he lost his discipline. And the top players will not forgive you. He's still right in this final, so, you know, these
74.
next couple of frames on the way, he's got to at least obviously win one of them. But the way he is at the moment, he's just making Kyren's job a wee bit too easy. easier. Not easy, but you get the point.
The frame was effectively won anyway, but that was nevertheless a great bit of cueing from Wilson, who now looks back to the form that we saw
77.
not only throughout this week but at the beginning of this final, when he made 129 and 96 back-to-back. 80 in the previous frame, albeit launched by that extraordinary fluke. The black is academic.
There was a 78.
78, more than enough for Kyren Wilson to win his third consecutive frame and move 2 clear for the first time in the final. Very much advantage Wilson now, with 2 to come in this session. He leads by 5 frames to 3. Resilience has been the watchword for Ali Carter this week. 3 rounds running. He's won 4 consecutive frames to win matches from losing positions. He's going to have to show some of that again now at the back end of this first session. 5-3 behind, having led 3-2 with chances for 4-2. He can still get out of this session unscathed, of course, but equally, if things start to unravel, he could find himself 4 frames adrift, and that would take a fair bit of retrieving this evening, with 11 the target for the title. So a couple of big frames coming up here for Carter, who surely needs one of them. Just needs to re-establish the focus from earlier in this final. That'll help. The fluke seemingly holds his hand up, although the cue balls kept running. So not quite the result that Kyren Wilson had when he had his fluke a couple of frames ago. Not easy to play a shot like that when there's so much distance to travel, when you're just trying to dribble in behind a bought colour. He's just overdone it. And now those long pots are going in. Wilson has found an extra gear. Beautifully cued.
Five. Six.
Brown's still on, but it's a bit straight for comfort. Some mileage to do with the cue ball playing the yellow, so it's critical that he plays for choice of reds, which they normally would do.
Eight.
could have gone wrong, that. Didn't have
9.
all the reds on there and dropped nicely on one. Not a great chance as yet.
$14. $15.
Would love to get on that red just below the pink. That's the one he's eyeballing. If he can get on that, it becomes a chance, a genuine chance to win the frame. Might not be playing for it this time round, but that might be the key. Wow.
Ken Wilson, 15.
An unexpected reprieve for Carter, who needs one right now. Danger of losing his way in this first session. We've already seen, though, how quickly the momentum can shift. And it can shift back again in his favour if he can make the most of this chance.
One.
He would be highly delighted to get out of this session at 5-all.
Seven. Eight.
A heart in the mouth moment. It's a really important visit, this, for Carter, the chance to just regroup after a passage of very frustrating play, the fluke from Wilson, the failure to nail down that sixth frame, the casual
15.
safety blunder that cost him in the eighth. Can put all that behind him if he can make something substantial here.
16. $20. $21.
Yeah, may choose to play on the red on the end cushion off this because it's almost guaranteed. It's tricky to get on reds on the red in the open, so that was not only clever but well controlled.
26.
This is also a key shot. Just low straight on the brown. He can then just about pick his spot. And frame would be at his mercy.
27.
Doesn't happen often, that
Circle
roll,
one.
reversal brown and black, does it? But you feel cheated every time you pot the brown. 3 points, but
32.
that was nicely done. So, as you see there, the bottom red goes to this same pocket. So, anything on or around straight. You should win the frame. And it would set up a big frame the last of the session.
39.
Kyren Wilson's turn to feel some frustration because he was building up some real momentum, only to miss the brown, surprisingly, to give Carter this chance.
Forty.
Two more reds needed to close the gap to one with one to play.
46. $47. 51. 52.
A very big frame for Ali Carter to win, and for Kyren Wilson, a sense of what might have been. He had the chance to potentially push on to 6-3, and then he's in a very healthy position regardless of the last frame of this session. As it is, Carter can still get out of it unscathed.
59.
And he's taken these well. He's been able to regroup. Signs of frustration creeping into his game in the previous couple of frames, but to put that to one side. And it's been the story of his tournament, his ability to raise his game when he's had to do so.
Six to 8.
A very significant break of 68 from Ali Carter to punish Kyren Wilson's miss on the brown. Carter gets himself back within one with one frame to come in session one at the Shanghai Masters final. Kyren Wilson leading 5-4. Frame and a 6-3 lead, and that would have put him very much in the box seat in this Shanghai Masters final, but Carter has stemmed the tide and now has the chance to share the session. The last frame, is it going to be 5 each, or can Wilson carve out a 6-4 lead to take into the resumption, which is coming up in just under 2.5 hours time? 11, remember, the magic number to walk away with the trophy and that first prize of £210,000. Both of these players going for their second title in Shanghai. Half a chance for Wilson with one good red from distance. Oh, a bit of noise.
场外观众请保持安静。
Bit of a telling off from referee Zheng Wei Li. Wilson resets. Big shot this. And how well did he cue it? It was worth the wait.
Kyren Wilson 1.
He'll be very disappointed, not least because you could make a very strong case for Wilson being the best rest player in the world, but didn't strike that one cleanly and let off for Carter.
I must confess, I was surprised that Kyren didn't attempt to use one of his mini butts. He could have reached that. This regulation bridge hand. Now Ali is trying to steel himself for one last big effort. fantastic pot. Not least of all for, I think, be forgiven for thinking, it should have been left something a bit easier than that. Terrific shot. And just worth noting the pink spot. Quite nicely in the open. So this could develop into a more than presentable chance to level up again.
Five. Six.
Yeah, the pace of the stride round the table told us that he was on the pink, didn't it? There was no dropping of the head or the shoulders, so a couple of shots away here, perhaps from making it a chance to win the frame. Not an easy chance, no, not saying that by a long stretch, but it's just a case of getting one good positional shot to set up the chance, which is not that easy from here.
Thirteen.
That was a clever way of playing it to hold the spot. Good thinking.
One of the great things about these long matches is that it affords the opportunity for so many different ebbs and flows. Ali Carter at one point was on top in this first session, leading 3-2 with chances for 4-2 as Zheng Weili, when he spots the pink, then Kyren Wilson took over to lead 5-3 with 3 straight frames. Mr. Brown, when it might have been 6-3, has missed that pink ball with the rest at the start of this frame to give Carter the chance. Thank you, says Carter, with more than a hint of sarcasm.
Very close, yeah.
Yeah, it looked for all money that they'd held the spot, didn't it? But obviously it's foreshortened by the angle we see, so he's still okay though. He looked there that Ali was, as if he was on nothing. Not terrible.
Yeah, he wasn't overly hampered with his cueing, so the break continues. And if he can get out of this session at 5-all, he'll be much the happier of the two. But still much to be done.
Three. 24.
Better shot than it looked at. He still kind of looks a wee bit perturbed or upset with something. I don't quite know why, because he actually perfect position now. He's holding things together well, including that previous frame.
30. $31.
Wilson, no doubt reflecting on the miss pink, which
37.
you would have backed him to get 19 out of 20 at least, given how proficient he is with the rest, having got him with a sweetly struck long red. This breaker's the result. And of course he missed the brown in the previous frame when he was in, so 2 pots from Wilson, threatening to change the dynamic of this final.
Yeah, might choose to just try, if he can, hold the spot this time. Obviously feels he can just about hold for it.
44.
So, must assume that the red above the black will go to left corner, and if it does, he's still okay here. But he's got to finish on or around straight on the pink.
45.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
The other thing in Carter's favour is that if something were to go wrong here, the table is not particularly inviting for a winning counter for Wilson. But Carter determined to make sure nothing does go wrong from here
51.
in his bid to tie this Shanghai Masters final up once again.
52.
And he's very close to making that happen now. 57 the lead, a red and a colour. And it looks like 5 apiece coming back this evening.
$59.
Well, it was the pink that Kyren Wilson missed, surprisingly, with the rest at the start of this frame, that gave Carter this opportunity to come out of this session level pegging, and this pink will make that happen, barring snookers. And it seems we're back in best of 11 frame territory as we were in the early rounds of the Shanghai Masters.
65.
A thoroughly engrossing final, as we expected it would be. The two best players of the week, who've been quite outstanding throughout the tournament, winning in different ways. Carter coming from behind 3 times in a row quite brilliantly. Wilson just outstanding with his break building. And that red
6-6.
sets the seal on a big frame for Ali Carter. There was just a danger that this final was going to get away from him at 5-3 behind, but he's turned things around. Only 51 left. There's the handshake, and it's all to play for when they come back in the deciding session. A brilliant session of snooker once again, full of twists and turns. Both players will look back on frames they'll feel they should have won, that slipped away. But the final analysis tells us that it's on as even. 5 each, all to play for this evening. They both need 6 to be crowned Shanghai Masters champion.